Good morning, everybody. Just kind of sitting out here this morning, drinking coffee and relaxing. Um, and as the school year closes, I just have been thinking this morning about some things because I've heard my kids in Wednesday night church class talk about certain teachers. They didn't like this one, they liked that one. And I was just sitting back and reflecting on some of the teachers that, I kind of grew up with and throughout my years of school and college and even in the professional world and working. Why were some people more impactful, and why do some stand out more than others? And it really comes down to connections and powerful connections. And I think I mentioned I've read the book Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, and I'm giving a lunch and learn to the Georgia Association of Volunteer Administration next week as part of my John Maxwell stuff. And I just started, thinking about why kids, today it's no different than when I went to school. They either like teachers or they don't. And there's valid reasons behind each and every one that everything that they say because I remember, and I had four teachers that I actually stand out in my head, and I'll never forget them. They'll be with my memories and my thoughts. And like I had a lot of teachers, and I could probably sit here and name them all. However, the four that stand out, like the reason why they stand out is because they connected. And it didn't matter what level, what grade level I was, they all connected with their students. They all connected in a positive way. And I think about, it's first grade. Miss Clifton was my homeroom teacher. She was the sweetest, nicest lady that I've ever had. She was just nice. Still is. When I think about first grade, yeah, it was first grade, just new big school, but she connected with us and made learning fun. And then you go through the years, and I think about the other ones. The next one was fourth grade, like second and third grade. I probably don't even remember who my teachers were. That's how not impactful those years were. They were just, I probably couldn't even tell you who they are, but Miss Bridges in the fourth grade at Ruth Hill Elementary School. I think she was a new teacher that year. And that class was the most fun I have ever had in school to this day. She made learning fun, but she challenged us and she brought out our best. And she had ways of doing that and making us. I mean, I still remember having, you know, spelling test, and we would get up and in a little competition, and I am a competitive person to a big extent, probably more than most. But two of us would go up to the blackboard, and she would call out a spelling word, and we would race to see who could spell it. And if you didn't spell it right, it was just one of those things, and it was just one of those things that made that class fun. It made learning fun. It made wanting to know your spelling words, that much more fun and much more easier. And she just knew how to connect with us, and she connected with us on all levels. And then I probably remember a few teachers in the next couple grades, but the next ones that stand out were Mr. Bourne and Mr. Jackson in middle school, which wood shop. When I think about the patience and the love that they have for their craft, and they pass that love on to me. I mean, I build things today, but it all started in the seventh grade in shop class, and I think we had to take 2 6 weeks of shop and home economics and music, and yeah, I remember sewing and cooking, but like the biggest thing was the love for woodworking. And Mr. Bourne was also a baseball coach of mine, so I've learned life lessons from him, and the patience and the care and the connections that he made with us kids was just something that always stands out. And then I had a lot of teachers in high school, and I've been compared and judged, and probably rightly so, because I could be a smart butt if you treated me that way, and I usually gave back what you expected, and if your expectation was that I was a smart butt, then I was going to be a smart butt to you. But you know, the teachers that had the mutual respect and treated you right, I treated them right. Um, I know better now, but I still will sometimes give you the attitude that you present to me, which is not always the right thing to do or the Christian thing to do. But sometimes, we're not perfect. But the next teacher that I had in the four years of high school was Mr. Moore, and he was the instructor of the drum line, and he had a bunch of wild and crazy teenagers in that drum line, but the patience and the connections that he made, and a lot of people have natural abilities to play drums, but he took somebody like me that didn't even know how to play drums, and taught them the basics and propelled. And that's my love of music, and I do like to mess around on drums. I know a lot of people that don't need instruction; they can just do things. I'm not one of those people. So it was just the way he connected, and it's true for all of them. I mean, those four stick out in my head, and they'll be with me forever just because of those connections. So don't ever underestimate the power of a connection, um, whether it be a big or small, event. I mean, we need people. We need people to help us grow. We need people that have impacts, and we can have impacts on people because it'll follow you out throughout your career. And I had a lot of bosses at Delta that were great connectors. Some of them are still there, some are retired. But I had a lot of bosses too that I'm like, man, I have no idea what you've been smoking, but you need to take that somewhere else. But I've learned, and that's the thing is, and it's always learning and growing. And you can learn from the good and you can learn from the bad. And sometimes you learn more from the bad than you do the good because it teaches you how you may not want to be. So, if you're out there and you're a leader, you're a teacher, think about the way you connect with people on their level and find that common ground because the impacts you have, will stay with somebody for a lifetime. So that's all I got today. And I highly recommend if you've never read the book, Everyone Communicates Few Connect because it is a teachable skill and it's something I'm learning. I don't always do it and I don't always get it right, but I'm trying, and that's all we can do. So, teachers, hats off to you because it's not a good job, but I know a lot of you are making impacts, either positive or negative, in children's life. And just stop, and even leaders out there in the business world, think about how you connect with somebody and what you say and the things you do because, we can either help people grow or we can, water the weeds or we can water the flowers. And we want to definitely be blooming the flowers and weeding out the weeds. So, anyway, I hope everybody has a good Memorial weekend. Be safe, be smart, and start connecting and making an impact on somebody's life. We can't change the world, but we can change the world around us. So remember, I love you, and so does God.